The media ready? You guys ready? Hey, well, good evening. I'm attorney Demario Solomon Simmons. Law is my ministry, justice is my passion. I literally just got off a plane in Washington, D.C. I was not supposed to be here today, but obviously we hear from the momentous historic news that we received from the Creek Nation District Judge, Judge Danette Mauser, where she found what we've always known.
That's right.
That we are Creek citizens.
Right.
By birthright, by history, culture, and by law. The Treaty of 1866, specifically Article 2. But before we talk about the decision, I just want to just real briefly run through a quick timeline that I thought about just on the plane. 187 years ago, 1836, Creeks of African descent, many were enslaved, some were not, traveled along the Trail of Tears to what we now know as Oklahoma. And for the next 30 years, many of those Creeks of African descent continue to be enslaved by the Creek Nation. And then the Civil War happened. And many of the Creeks sided with the Confederacy because they wanted to keep Creeks of African descent enslaved, and they wanted to discriminate against free Creeks of African descent. At the end of the Civil War, 157 years ago, on June 14, 1866, my four-time grandfather, Cal Tom, was one of 5 individuals to negotiate and sign the Creek Treaty of 1866, which specifically had in Article 2 that Creeks of African descent are to be treated equally as any other Creek. Then we go 152 years ago, 1872. Cal Tom had to take a horse and buggy from Muscogee area to Leavenworth, Kansas, and then take a train to Washington, D.C. to testify and work with the United States Senate because there was Confederate Creeks that wanted to discriminate against the Creeks of African descent despite the Treaty of 1866. He was successful in vindicating the Creeks of African descent in the 1872. Then we go 117 years ago, April 26, 1906, when the United States of America created the discriminatory Freedmen Roll. It was the United States that created the discriminatory Freedmen Roll that separated Creeks of African descent from our mothers, our brothers, our fathers, our sons, our brothers, our sisters, our family members. That happened 117 years ago. And then 46 years ago, October 29, 1977, Creek Chief Claude Cox made it clear that he wanted to find a way to get rid of the freedmen. It was too many freedmen. That's not my words, that is his words. And just 2 years later, which is 44 years ago, October 30th, 1979, under the leadership of Claude Cox, and despite the, quote, legal and moral obligation, which are the words of the Secretary Deb Haaland, today's Secretary of State of the Interior, the Creek Nation implemented a constitution where they did not allow Creeks of African descent to actually vote. And in that constitution, they put in a by-blood requirement, opening up the opportunity for Creek freedmen to suffer rejection, humiliation, degradation, and discrimination. Then we come 19 years ago, I'm gonna fast forward. Now we are into 25 years of humiliation, Tiffany. 25 years of degradation, Ronald. 25 years of discrimination. I filed a lawsuit right out of law school in 2004. 3 years later, which is 16 years ago, on March 20th, 2007, my man Emory Bryan, he covered my lawsuit there, right in this room. 2007, March 20th, 2007, the Creek Nation Supreme Court kicked our case out of court. And one of those clients was Ron Graham, right here, whose father was an original enrollee. They sent us packing. They thought we were going to quit. They thought it was over. At that time, we're talking about 27 years of humiliation, degradation, discrimination. Well, 5 years ago, July 18, 2018, we announced right in this very room a new lawsuit against the Creek Nation in federal court in Washington, D.C. I stood up here with Jeff, Rhonda, and Sharon, and Ron, and my co-counsel, David Riggs, who's right there in the front row, and many, many other Creek Freedmen, including my sweet, wonderful grandmother, Johnny Mae Austin Simmons. We filed that case hoping that we were going to finally end the discrimination, humiliation, and degradation. But unfortunately, 4 years ago, 2019, the DC courts dismissed us out. And they said we had to go back through the tribal court process once again. On that case, my grandmother was one of those plaintiffs, but she didn't get to see it. She passed away. She passed away before we got to this point. We did not want to have to exhaust our tribal remedies again. We didn't want to have to be subjected to more humiliation, more discrimination, more degradation, to be treated as second-class citizens, but we did. Jeff and Rhonda and Sharon all put in applications. We were denied. We did our administrative appeal. We were denied. And 3 years ago, March 20th, March 11th to be exact, 2020, we filed this particular case in the district court of the Muscogee Creek Nation. At that time, we were at 41 years of rejection, humiliation, discrimination. And 6 months ago, April 6th, we ended our trial, which was April 6, 2023, in front of Judge Danetta Mauser. And I asked her at that time that all we wanted was the law to be applied as it was written. And yesterday, Judge Danetta Mauser said, no more rejection, no more discrimination, no more degradation, no more humiliation. She said the plain language of the law, Article 2, requires that Creeks of African descent, who are now known as Creek Freedmen, should have the same rights as any other Creek. We have been waiting generations for this day. The emotions that we have experienced over the last 24 hours is hard to put in words. As we think about so many of our people that didn't make this day, I think about Fred Johnson, who was the plaintiff also with Ron Graham in 2002, doing everything he can, showing the people, this is my grandfather, I am Creek. And they tell him you're nothing but an ex-slave. Get out of here. It's over. This 16-page opinion ends the discrimination, degradation, and humiliation of Creek Freedmen forever. Now, I understand, but the Creek Nation has already said they're going to appeal. Fine. Because she laid it out right here. That the supreme law of this land is the supreme treaties. That's right. And it's the same treaties that the Creek Nation are telling everyone here in Oklahoma that we have to follow. It's the exact same treaty. And she said it. Read the opinion. She said, Creek Nation, you can't have it both ways. You can't use the treaty when it works for you and don't want to use it when you don't like it. So this decision, you know, old Haskell, they say, hold mule. If you know, you know. I want to shout. I want to run around this place. This is a powerful blow against anti-Black discrimination throughout this country.
Yeah.
Because it says that anti-Black discrimination is wrong in anywhere in this country, be it the United States, be it Indian territory, be it in an Indian country, wherever. It's a powerful blow. It is also a powerful victory, a clear victory for the rule of law. Something that we are losing in this country.
Yeah.
The rule of law, a judge who obviously was under a lot of pressure being the judge of the Creek Nation, to be able to look at the because this is simply saying that as a sovereign nation that makes a decision and makes an agreement, that they will keep that decision. So when the United States tries to back out, they can say, no, we kept our side of the agreement. Because for what the Creek Nation wanted to happen puts the entire Indian law jurisprudence apparatus at harm. Every Native American nation in this country should be happy and applauding this decision. It protects every Native American's treaty because it says treaties are sanctified. They are the supreme law of the land. And that is the basis. That is the true basis of Indian law. Under the United States of America, the Creek Nation exists because of the Treaty of 1866, the jurisdictional boundaries. This is a great day. This is a great victory. This will change the lives of Black Creek freedmen throughout this country, and particularly in this community. I'm talking about substantially providing health care, educational benefits, housing. And when the Creek Nation gave each Creek citizen $4,500 during COVID, and the Creek freedmen received zero, that won't happen. So we thank God, we thank our ancestors that we all stand on their shoulders. It was really, many times we wanted to give our rights. Many times we didn't. We stand as a testament of the Black people in this area. And obviously I got to talk about the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre where they literally tried to run the Negro out of Tulsa. This is part of it. I want to thank my legal team at Solomon Simmons Law, Kimberly Hedden-Kemper, Beatrice Monte-Kojo, Emma Weinberg, Jordan Johnson, Kathy Daniels, Pam Riddle. I want to thank my former law partner, my co-counsel, David Riggs, at the Riggs Ebony Law Firm. He's been on this journey with us for a very, very long time. To my other lawyers who've been on this case, Beverly Diamond, Graham Zorn, and Nessa Hortlich, Dimitar out of Square Patent. So many people on our legal team has been working on this case. Our Justice for Greenwood team that are here, that's been organizing the community, standing strong for this community. The Terrence Crutcher Foundation, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher.
Woo! Oh yeah.
Who is a Creek freedman, by the way. Obviously, the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedmen Band, our organization that I'm proud to represent and be a part of, which is headed by Jeff Kennedy and Rhonda Grayson. I want to thank Ron Graham for providing so much information, documentation, genealogy, and just not giving up. I mean, this man advanced for a stroll. He shows up for Blue Graham, his father, who was the original enrollee. Ron has been trying to get enrolled since 1983. He has been denied over 25 times. So he still shows up because he knew this day was coming one day, right? So before I let Rhonda and Jeff and Sharon, I know they're excited to say something. I know they're not. Let me just talk about next steps. Tomorrow, we will be going to the the Creek Nation Citizenship Office. And we fully expect for Rhonda Grayson and Jeffrey Kennedy to be the first 2 Creek freedmen enrolled since 1979. We will then be reaching out to the Creek Nation, specifically David Hill through his attorney, asking for a meeting. We hope that we can put this behind us and stop the adversarial relationship, and we can come together as one community, one Creek Nation. We have much bigger adversaries that want to crush Creek people throughout this state. There's no reason we should be fighting this issue. It's decided, it's done. And so we're going to reach out to David Hill, Chief Hill, and ask him, will he sit down with us? And let's have a conversation. Let's reconcile. And let's move forward as one nation.
Yeah.
Because we are Creeks, we love the Creek Nation. We have done so much to build it, to keep it alive. To our blood, sweat, and tears, as Justice Creek has done just as much as anyone else. So I'm saying it tonight, and I will say it to him, his lawyer, tomorrow. Chief Hill, we want to reconcile. We would like to meet. We want to move forward as one family that we are. And I know that Chief Hill knows that we are one people. And I hope that Chief Hill would accept our invitation to sit down and let us move forward as one family. That's our next steps. The third thing I would say for all Creek freedmen, make your application to the Creek Nation.
Absolutely.
If you have a problem,
Yes.
call Demario Solomon Simmons. And if you need technical assistance, you need to contact the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedmen Band. Become a member of the organization. That will give you opportunities to get technical assistance for documents you may need and things that you may need to make sure that your application process goes smoothly. So with that, I will turn this over to Jeff, Rhonda, and Sharon, and see whatever they want to say.
First of all, I give all honor to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is
Amen.
a 40-year battle, and we are so grateful to be here. Thank you to our legal team, Demario Solomon Simmons, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, and all that have been on this long journey with us. We are so thankful. When I received the call, I didn't even know, I couldn't even hardly believe it. I was just so delighted. We were screaming, we were shouting, we were celebrating. It is a momentous occasion, and I am just so happy, so delighted that our people can now enroll in the nation of our ancestors' birth, the nation of our birth. I'm just so happy, 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 happy. I don't have much to say today. I'll turn it over to Jeff Kennedy. Thank you.
My name is Jeff Kennedy. I'm one of the plaintiffs, and I wanted to say, who are we? Who are we? Who are we? Okay.
Great citizens.
Thank you.
Citizens of the Muscogee Nation.
Absolutely. But anyway, I just wanted to let you all know that, they did a phenomenal job. But the case was concise, and it was without fault. We were excited. We got the call. And of course, I had to do the dance. I'm sure everybody had to do the dance. But what really humbled me was the people that have been with us and those that did not come with us on this long, arduous journey. This is basically our Trail of Tears. And if I may, I just wanted to read a few names, if I may. Amelia Webster Hill, Shirley Thompson Grayson, Margaret R. Doyle, Freddie Johnson, Essie Mae Gillespie, Brent R. Shield, Devon I. Kennedy, Annette D. Hightower, Sherman J. Lawless, Polly S. Williams, Henrietta A. Hawkins, Everett Asbury, Sylvester Owsley, Johnny Mae Simmons Austin, and Donald Ray Singleton, James Lawless, and Devon Doyle. I just wanted to call their names out because they didn't make it on this Trail of Tears with us. And my heart just goes out to those families and for supporting us all this time. Thank God. Thank God.
Well, hi, my name is Sharon Lindsay Scott, and my Creek ancestors are the Pearmans. And first of all, I would like to just give thanks to Mario and to you. Thank you so much. I want to say my mother, Adeline Pearman, my aunts, Juanita Pearman, Bertha Pearman, and my other aunt, Bertha Pearman. They didn't make it. I took this journey up for them, hoping that I could get it done before they passed away, but they didn't get to see this happen. That was 20 years ago. And so with an humble heart and just grateful to the Lord Jesus Christ for everything that he's done, I say, I'm happy. I'm blessed. I stand here in honor of my two-time great-grandfather, Jesse Norris, who I just recently found out about, didn't know, but still stood with these amazing individuals, because we know that a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And you will always find the Terrence Crutcher Foundation on the front lines of any threat to our community here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm also a descendant of Rebecca Brown Crutcher, a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre, where Jesse Norris was her father. And so I'm proud to stand with you all today. And I want to just thank all of the advocates, you know, who rode down to Muscogee with us, court hearing after court hearing, small or large. We overcame a lot of hostility. We overcame the cold because we couldn't go inside the courtrooms. Elders were outside in the cold, but you all still came and you stood with the Creek Freedmen band and all of the Creek Freedmen. So to every justice advocate who stood with us, I just want to simply say thank you. And we always say justice for Black Creeks is justice for Greenwood.
Woo-hoo.
Last thing I want to say before we open up for just a few questions is there is a model of how this works right in this community. That model is the Cherokee Nation. That model is Principal Chief Chuck Hoskins. That's the model. That's leadership. What the Cherokee Nation and what Principal Chief Chuck Hopkins has done to fully embrace the Cherokee Freedmen and their history and make them full-fledged citizens, not just in name, but in fact. That is what we're looking for. So again, we are just hoping, and Chief Hill is listening to this, that he can look to, I hope he's on the phone right now, Chuck Hoskins, and saying, hey, give me the playbook. I see how this has made the Cherokee Nation stronger. I see how this made the Cherokee Nation more of a powerful leader in this state, in this nation. And we want to emulate that because it's a shared history. So with that, I'll open up just for a few questions.
I'm sorry, can you clarify something for me in the ruling? When I was reading it, it sounded like that the court just remanded it back to the Citizenship Office. Are you concerned that when y'all go in tomorrow to go apply for citizenship, they're going to say, well, you need to take this under consideration, or worse yet, reject your application for citizenship because the court just said, hey, you need to look at this case again. And my second question is, what's your response to the Muscogee Creek Nation saying that they're going to appeal the case?
To your first question, I think the order is very clear. She remanded it back and told them to process the application pursuant to her order that the treaty is the supreme law of the land. So we have 100% expectation that they're going to process those applications tomorrow because they have all the information. There's no question that they are Creek Freedmen. They have all that information. And she's made it clear. So I think her wording in here was that the courts and all agencies of the Creek Nation must adhere to the Treaty of 1866, Article 2. To your second question, as far as appealing the case, and if they want to continue to be on the wrong side of history and show themselves to continue to do anti-Black discrimination, that's unfortunate. But this 16-page document ends it. I don't believe that there is any lawyer, any reasonable lawyer that went to law school for 1 year that can read this document and overturn it.
But, you know, do you think that maybe the Creek Nation is trying to, you mentioned the Cherokee Nation, you know, in 2017, the, district court in DC said, okay, like, you lost this case. Do you think that the Creek Nation is gonna follow that same playbook and take it all the way up to a federal court to make that final decision?
Yeah. Obviously, I can't speculate on what exactly they will do. For 44 years, they've been humiliation, degradation, discrimination. But I just believe that Judge Mauser made it so clear here. The thing about it, she could have just did a paragraph decision. She specifically laid it out. So I think the Creek Nation wants to exercise their sovereignty and the sanctity of Article 2 of the treaty. Because again, this upholds the sovereignty of the Creek Nation, this decision right here. And I think other Native American nations across this nation are gonna say, hey, don't put us all at risk because a few of you guys don't wanna have, Creek Freedmen in your organizations. Thank you for your question. Yes, sir.
You have a lot of people watching this case, especially, of course, Chickasaw and Choctaw Freedmen. And you also have people as far from California. The chair of the Reparations Task Force for California recently shared your announcement today and said that this is a win, not just for Creek Freedmen, but for American freedmen as well. What's your message to the descendants of American enslaved people and the Chickasaw and Choctaw Freedmen?
Well, to the Choctaw Freedmen, I think they have a very similar path because their treaty is very, very similar to the Creek Treaty and the Cherokee Treaty. For my Chickasaw brothers and sisters on the Freedmen Road, I just frankly think they have a narrow path, maybe something there through Congress, but I definitely think the Choctaws have an opportunity through the court, and we're looking at that also.
Jared, you talked about sovereignty and kind of laid out the history of how long this fight has been. Talk to me about how important you think that the McGirt ruling was in the ruling that you guys impact it had.
I think the McGirt ruling was essential to the judge's analysis. I mean, she says it again, she said you can't do this checkerboard where you decide, oh, we want to use McGirt when it's beneficial for us, but then, and that's Article 3 of the Treaty of 1866, but don't recognize Article 2 of the Treaty of 1866. You know, it's very interesting because on August 30th, just last month, Chief David Hill wrote a letter to Governor Stitt. And in that letter, Chief David Hill told Governor Stitt, hey, Governor, the treaty is the supreme law of the land. And you can go to any judge in this state, he's going to tell you that the treaty is the supreme law of the land. So why don't you lay off of it and just get in line? So that's what we're saying, the same thing, Chief Hill. The treaty is the supreme law of the land. And so that's what I'm saying. If they don't adhere to this ruling, they're putting the entire McGirt decision and sovereignty at risk. It gives a great argument. And I don't want to be on the side of Kevin Stitt. I don't want to be arguing with him against the Creek Nation. However, it gives him a great argument if they're not going to recognize Article 2, especially when their own courts, the own court said it. So I think it was instrumental in this particular decision for sure. Okay. Hey, well, thanks everybody. Keep us in prayer. We'll see you tomorrow when we get enrolled.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, please.